With the Second World War MA programme, we have created a course which not only provides a deep and engaging study of the conflict, but one which also allows students to study flexibly, allowing them to fit their studies around their lives. The programme is taught part-time over 2 years and is delivered entirely through Saturday schools and online evening seminars. The Saturday schools all take place in our Wolverhampton city centre campus. They are also all streamed live, so students have the option of either attending in person or watching live from home. On the programme, you'll be taught primarily by myself, Dr. Adam Dighton, and Professor John Buckley. John is one of the world's leading military historians and has written extensively on many aspects of the Second World War, particularly the British Army, as well as the use of air power. My approach to the history of warfare complements this, as my focus is less on the military aspects of warfare and more on how war affects societies. Of particular interest to me is how nations and other groups have sought to make sense of war, both in terms of how it features in their national memory and also in their historical writing. The quality and flexibility of our programme means that it attracts students from a wide range of backgrounds. While some of our students come straight from completing their degree, many are mature students, either coming to university education for the first time or returning to it after a break. By developing students' ability to analyse and think critically, the programme allows them to achieve their ambitions, whatever they may be. In a job market in which many have a degree, an MA will really make your CV stand apart. Moreover, the research and analytical skills you will learn on the programme will enhance your career in whichever field you work. The programme is well suited to those who want to become better historians, be that for their own personal interest or because they would like to lay the foundations for going on to further academic study, such as completing a PhD. The programme is built around 6 content-led modules. You take 3 in each year. Each module is assessed through one 4,000-word essay. You can choose your essay question from a list we provide, or you can write your own. The programme examines the key aspects of the Second World War in detail, such as why did it occur? How was it fought? How did it affect the communities and societies caught up in it? And what were its long-term consequences? On the Asia-Pacific War module, you will study the origins, conduct, and consequences of the war fought between the Japanese and the Allies. The island-hopping campaign and the clashes between the US and Imperial Japanese navies are examined closely. Equally, the module pays close attention to the fighting in China during this time. After all, most of the Japanese army was deployed here for much of the conflict. As such, the module addresses the key question of why Japan was defeated. In this, it considers both military factors as well as wider social and political ones as well. Finally, we examine the long-term impact of the war on the Pacific region. How is the war remembered there today? How has the Chinese national memory of the war changed over time? And to what extent is this driven by a desire to alter the political status quo in the region and on the global stage today?
Axis and Allies, Grand Strategy in the Second World War is a module which examines the approaches to and the conduct of the war at the highest levels, where military, political and economic factors and forces interact to shape strategy and drive foreign policy. We will study in detail the so-called German Blitzkrieg. For example, was it a method of war or just a media label? What is the Italian approach to the Second World War? And of course, we'll explore the Allies and their quite different concept of strategy. In particular, the transition from Anglo-French thinking in 1939 to the emergence of the Grand Alliance. We will also analyse the role of intelligence in the formulation of Allied strategy. There's even a chance to examine a real Second World War enigma machine. Eastern Front in the Second World War was the most important campaign that served to bring down Hitler's Germany. Vast armies confronted each other for 4 years and battled in the most demanding and costly circumstances, and it was the Red Forces that broke the back of the German army. In the Ostfront module, we will study the strategy of the two sides, their methods and factors that underpinned the Soviet Union's victory in 1945. But we will also examine the impact of the conflict on communities and societies, the effects of Hitler's ideological war of annihilation in the East, and the appalling loss of life. When the Allies hit the beaches on D-Day in June 1944, it is the beginning of a long and bitter campaign to liberate Western Europe from the clutches of the Third Reich. In the Victory Campaign module, we will study the root causes of Allied success in Normandy and their sweeping advance to the Low Countries and the borders of Germany itself. Operation Market Garden is a key moment in the campaign, and we will examine the battle in some detail, as well as the manner in which it has been represented in the film A Bridge Too Far. Then we will analyse the final collapse of Germany, the occupation, and how the Cold War emerged out of the ruins of Europe.
The Societies and Total War module examines how the experience of the Second World War varied between nations. On the one hand, the module explores how the war affected the civilian societies of the belligerents. How did the war alter people's lives in the short and the long term? On the other, the module examines what drove the escalation of violence during the conflict. For example, why was the fighting on the Eastern Front so much more brutal than that in the West? Why did the British adopt the policy of area bombing German cities, even though they had previously promised not to target enemy civilians from the air? The course concludes with a dissertation on a topic chosen by you. This allows you to do a detailed examination of a subject using primary source material, such as letters and diaries written by the historical participants. The completion of a dissertation will mark you out as an expert in the history of the Second World War. Another highlight of the programme has been our battlefield tours to Normandy to study the British and Canadian operations there in 1944. These tours have not only examined the D-Day landing beaches, but have also studied the ground fought over later in the campaign during the attempts to capture the city of Caen and to close the infamous Falaise Pocket. You can see footage from our most recent battlefield tour on our War Studies at Wolverhampton YouTube channel, which is hosting this video, as well as our Twitter and Instagram feeds. We look forward to welcoming you onto the programme. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. You can find our contact details in the description of this video and on the university's website. We look forward to seeing you soon.